Hey guys, welcome to another episode. So we're out at the other property, the hunting property. It's food plot time. So I'm going to show you kind of what I've got food plot wise. We've got a pretty good variety here. We're trying something different this time. We're doing an Amazon food plot year. So all of this was bought on Amazon. So you can go get the exact same stuff we're going to use. We've got 10 pounds purple top turnips. We've got some radish seeds. 5 pounds of radish seeds. We've got some Imperial Whitetail wintergreens by Whitetail Institute. I found this on Amazon by some brand called Dominion, called Bombshell. Supposed to be really good. We'll see. I've got Whitetail Institute winter peas here behind me. And then I ran across this 50-pound bag by Buckmasters. Had a lot of really good reviews. Supposed to be some kind of all-purpose food plot. So we'll see what that does. I'm going to use my normal method. We brush hogged yesterday. I was going to plant yesterday, but it just got too hot. So out here early this morning, get everything planted. So at this first location, we're going to do 5 pounds purple top turnips. And then we'll do the rest and we'll see what happens. So stay with me. Okay, so we got the first plot planted. Well, it's actually 2 plots here. 5 pounds always does this place perfect. Try to keep everything planted normally within bow range. This place gets a little bit larger than bow range. But we're at box blind, you can see behind me. And apologize if the quality's changed from a moment ago. My camera died as I was finishing the other segment and forgot to bring my bag with all the batteries. So I'm using my phone to record the rest here. But this is the box blind plot. You guys saw this last year if you watched my videos. We'll look behind me there. So it goes kind of down and around. I'm going to have to come in at the end of next year or at the end of season and cut some, see if you can see where I'm pointing at, some trees right over in this area out so I can keep it clear, because I like to be able to see down there. Once the greenery's gone, you'll be able to see. But here's the blind. We've killed a lot of deer out of this one. We've killed them as close as almost the deer almost sticking their head in the window here. And then we've shot several right down that lane out this side window. My dad shot them with muzzleloaders. Shot a couple of really nice bucks down there. So this is always a good stand. Behind me here, angle you up kind of. Those are persimmon trees behind it. So it's got a little persimmon thicket right here. There's persimmon trees behind it right here as well. And then over, and we'll walk over there real quick while I talk to you. But we've got this cut through right here. We've got this cut through that the deer use. We've got a big pecan tree right in there along with a bunch of oaks. So there's always acorns and pecans here that they browse on. But we got this cut through that comes through. And they always scrape right in front of the stand, about 15 yards from it. So that's always good. But then you've got this little plot right here. About an acre, maybe a little bit, maybe half an acre actually. Now I'm looking at it. But we planted this, and the cool thing about here, so you can see right down there, it kind of goes downhill. There's a trail that the deer take and go around. Right back here, they go around. They come through right there. There's a ravine right over here that they travel down. They come through this, and then sometimes they bed right behind this big oak, and then they'll go down in there too. So this always ends up being a really good spot, especially early season. I've seen a lot of big bucks here. We've killed a lot of big deer here. So all right, on to the next spot. Okay, so just got back to the truck after that first food plot and noticed something in the bag. Wanted to show you guys this. This is pretty cool. And before I show you this, just want to let you know, I'm not endorsed by anyone. I'm not sponsored by anyone. No one's paying me to review this or anything, so this is unbiased. But the purple top turnips we just planted come from Hale Habitat and Seed. And really interesting, I'm going to turn you around here real quick. They've got this guide in the bag of seeds. It says food plot guide. And if you flip this over, it gives you a list of some of these top food plots that you can plant, what the seeding rates are recommended by them, when to plant, the depth, cycle, how much biomass, quickest, if they establish quick, what their grazing potential is, and what their shade tolerance is. I have not seen this with any other company putting this in to say, hey, here's what you can expect from our products if you get other stuff from us. So that's actually really cool. So that might be worthwhile keeping them in mind if you like this kind of thing, if it actually falls true with what they're saying. So all right, on to the next one. Okay, so here's food plot number 2. This is the big one. This is the tower blind. All right, so I got the tower behind me. I'm not going to show it because we had some storms and it needs some repair, so I'm not going to show it until I get it repaired. I've already been getting pictures of some pretty nice bucks at this food plot. They're probably 2-year-olds, but with the way the hunting pressure is going to be this year and not seeing any mature bucks yet, they'll probably all be on the hit list. We'll see what shows up closer to October. But in case you've never seen, if I haven't explained how I plant this food plot before, because it is very large, I do what I call the funnel method. So I start right in front of the box blind, and I've seeded it fairly heavily out. This year I went all the way across. That's only 30 yards across, so it's all bow range. But then I get on the sides, so I get on the sides over here, and I get to where I think, based on looking at the blind, where I think my last shot opportunity is. And then I basically make a V line coming right up to where I've heavily planted it and plant that in, and then I do the same thing to the other side over here. And what I have found that does is the deer will come out on the edges, but then they'll feed in, and they always come right here in the very center, because they're coming to where this is heavily planted, but they're starting out with that stuff that's on the edge. And it works out. I mean, I've killed the drop tine buck here a couple years ago, so it worked out. And I mean, we've seen tons and tons and tons of bucks here. I mean, at one point I think I had 7 bucks in front of me one year, and Dad's hunted here a couple times and he's had the same experience. So it works out really good. I changed my cameras around this year, so let's bring it over here and show you my camera. So I changed my cameras. I bought the Cuddeback cell phone cameras, and I bought the solar panels that go with them. That way I don't have to change batteries, and I'll tell you, it's been working a charm. I put these cameras out in probably March. It is August now. I've not had to change any batteries or anything because of those solar panels, and I don't even have backup batteries in it. The cameras are 100% running off that solar panel, and the way Cuddeback does their solar panels is there's a battery pack in there, so that solar panel is charging that battery pack and then powers that. And if you don't know anything about Cuddeback, they do this link system where you pay one cell phone subscription for the camera and you link all your other ones up. Right now I've only got 2 other cameras linked to them. They're down that way, and I was going to buy some more, but check their website and they're sold out right now. So as soon as I get back in stock, I'll buy some more. I think you can link up to 16 cameras to them, I think. Don't quote me on that. I think that's what I read, but it might not be. As for some reason, 24 keeps coming to mind as well. So it's one of those numbers. You can link that many cameras up to it. And you know, last year I only had 2 cell phone cameras. This year I've got 3, and one of those 3 is right in the middle of their bedding area. And I've got pictures on it. They're used to it coming in. I just saw an alert from the camera coming in from me standing in front of it. But it's nice. It's the way that you set it up on the website when you set everything up is you tell it what email addresses, what phone numbers you want text messages and emails sent to anytime there's a picture. Then they send you a report every day telling you how many pictures from which cameras and everything. And it's really neat setup they've got. It's better than what I had before with Reveals, the Tachycams. I like these a lot better. The pictures are clearer. Cell phone plan's better. I mean, for 3 cameras, I'm paying the exact same that I did for 2 cameras. So, you know, you can't complain on that. Yeah, the cameras and the solar panel are a little bit more expensive up front, but in the long run, it's going to save me money. So, I think I'm going to stick with them. I'm going to get some more expand, put my cameras out, and by having more, I'll, you know, be able to monitor my deer movement a lot better with this system. Whereas before, I could only afford the 2 cell cameras because they charge you for every single camera you put up to add to the cell phone plan. And then I had, you know, several put out that I had to go manually check, and you know, I don't like manually checking them when you can have it sent to your phone and you don't disrupt the deer patterns that way. Let's walk across the field here. So last year I put this tree in the very center, and I don't know if I've talked about this or not. So I dug a hole, we put that tree in the very center here for a licking branch. Well, one of the bucks got pissed off at it and was trying to rub it and whatnot and ripped it down. I'm not messing with that again. So yesterday when I was brush hogging, I happened to notice right here this low-lying branch. I'll bring it over here, let you look at it. So this low-lying branch, we'll just let nature make my licking branches here. And you can see I used the bucket to kind of scrape. And I've got 2 right there, but it's okay because I've seen them side by side like that in the future. So what I'm going to do here in a moment is I'm going to pee in it because I've got to pee. And that will get the deer already using it. I've already got pictures of deer standing right here anyway. So, you know, maybe I can get them using it now. If those bucks start using it, then come October, it'll be already engraved in their mind to check it and should have some success. So we'll see. Last thing to tell you about, I use the Bombshell as my heavy seed. So that's what's really up close to the blind. We'll see how that works. And then I use the radishes for the rest because this plot does, I mean, it grows a lot of, let's see if I can show you. Grows a lot of this weed. And it's actually, this weed's actually basically a type of wild alfalfa. But it grows a lot of that. Really heavy here. And when I'm brush hogging, you can see where the deer have been nipping it. But you know, it's all along the edge of the fields, so they'll still be able to nip it. But as far as like food plot seeds, it's always hard for this one. So I like planting, you know, like the radishes and stuff, because that puts that big tuber down in the ground where it will rot and add fertilizer for next year. So, all right, I think we're going to go pack up all the trash from this one. We'll go to the next field, or the next food plot on the upper part of the property. And then we'll be heading down to where my brother hunts, and we'll be planting those areas. All right, food plot number 3 behind me here. This is what we call the ridge food plot, and we do not immediately hunt this food plot. There's no stand directly overlooking it. We actually have one that is past it in the woods back over here on a ridge line. So what we actually do on this one is we catch them when they are coming down the ridge to come through, and back over here is a bedding area. So we catch them when they're coming through. So what'll happen, they'll hit this food plot, and then they'll come down into the woods and then cross to go to ag fields in the evening. In the morning, we catch them coming back, and then they'll hit this late in the afternoon, or late in the evening, or I mean late in the morning, my bad. So we'll catch them in the morning, they'll come down, go by that stand, and then come up in here. They'll get a few bites, then go on up into their bedding area in the mornings, and then the evenings it's the opposite. They're coming through, eating a little bit, and then going through. And they don't stay in this food plot very long. I think the longest I've watched one from the stand, and the stand right back up in there, You can just barely see the food plot when you're sitting in it. But the longest I've seen one stay in this food plot is about 30 minutes, and that was in the morning. That deer was really weird though. He saw me, it was a button buck. He saw me when I went to my stand, watched me get in the stand in the morning, pitch black, and just could barely make him out. So he wasn't that far from me. Stayed around my stand for a bit, realized I was not in a mood to hunt a button buck. Came up here, ate for about 30 minutes, came back down there, laid down next to me and kept looking up at me, and then finally left after, I don't know, staying around for about 2 hours. But typically I'll see the does or the bucks come in here. They'll graze around 10-15 minutes, then they're either going up in the bed, up into the bedding area, or coming down into the bottoms down there to get acorns. There's a lot of acorn trees down there, and they'll graze around down there. And we do feed corn to them down by that stand, so that's something else that'll draw them through. But that's been one of my favorite places to hunt. I'm starting to like the tower blind even more now lately because of all the action that's been seen. But this used to be one of my favorite places to hunt. Killed my first wall hanger here, a decent 8-point when I was in high school. It was super exciting. Had some really big bucks come through here. I've killed a lot of deer in this location. Unfortunately, a lot of management deer, because we used to have, I haven't seen it lately, but we used to have some really bad genetics where the deer would get a real pretty left or right side, and then the other side would almost go straight up with 3 or 4 points on it. And you know, we'd watch them as a yearling all the way until they were about 5-year-old, and they never grew out of that. So we started taking those out, and after we did that, we noticed that we got a lot better genetics in here. We typically don't shoot does. There's too many road hunters around here. We've called the game wardens multiple times, and they don't seem to really care. You know, I mean, I even had pictures of a guy hanging out of a car shooting at one that I text to a game warden, and he's just like, "What do you want me to do about it?" I just sent you proof with the guy's tag number that he was shooting out of a car, but apparently you guys don't care. So props to the Oklahoma Wildlife Department on your law enforcement agency there. They're glad to give someone a ticket that's trying to follow the law, but when you send them proof of someone not breaking, or someone that's breaking the law knowingly, they don't seem to care. Must have been a buddy or something. I know I've heard a lot of people, other people say that around here, that, you know, if you send them a picture and it's someone they know, that's just like, whatever, they'll do what they do. So I'm not saying that all of them are like that, but it seems to be the ones around here are like that. Maybe we'll get some, a lot of those guys are getting older in retirement age, so maybe we'll get some younger guys that are actually willing to do their job and do something about those guys. But anyways, it's starting to warm up, so I want to try to go finish the last two food plots that we've got over here. I've got left, actually let's talk about what we planted here real quick. I don't think I've done that. So we planted the winter peas. When I was reading the winter peas a second ago, that's got winter oats, a little bit of turnips mixed in with it, and I think it said some kale. So that's cool. But when I was going through it, it was mostly the winter peas. There was very, very little of that other stuff, which is what I wanted. I wanted mostly winter peas, so that's okay. So we planted the winter peas here. I planted the half of the bag of turnips, so about 2.5 pounds of turnips here. The other 2.5 pounds of turnips, and the wintergreens we're going to plant behind the house at a food plot that I've started planting since last year. And then we're going to go down to the lower section of the property here in a second, where my brother does most of his hunting, and we're going to plant this 50 pounds of this Buckmasters worry-free hunting formula mix that they've got for fall food plots. Says it's supposed to plant half an acre. That's 50 pounds for half an acre. That's pretty heavy seeding, so I will see. We'll see. I guess it depends on what the seed size looks like. If it's a real big seed when I get in there, then we'll know it's not going to be much more than that, but stay tuned. Okay, so I just now started planting. I wanted to show you guys this Buckmasters plot. I don't know why it's got such good reviews. That's mostly wheat. In case you couldn't tell what kind of seed that was, that's mostly wheat. Looks like there's some oats, some turnips, maybe some kale seeds mixed in there, but not very heavily. But I want to say like 95% of that mix is wheat. So don't waste your money on that Buckmaster's mix. Just go buy a bag of wheat from the local co-op. It'll be a lot cheaper. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get this planted in this spot. All right, so almost done with this food plot. I've got a spot that's about 50 yards away I'm gonna finish, and then we'll be done. I'm gonna talk to you about this food plot real quick, and then I'll go wrap up that other one, talk to you for a second. We'll be done for over here, and then we'll have to go to the house and finish that one. So here's the food plot. Let me turn all the way around here for you. All right, so see if you can see. So right back up in here is the stand. Can't really tell if you can see it. You might be able to, but we've got a ladder stand there. A little bit of history on this food plot right here. Used to be an oil jack site. We had everything plugged. So now when they plugged it, they made it a nice little open spot. So we started planting it. We got this place when I was in like 3rd or 4th grade. So a long time ago. Used to just have trails through here, and we would plant the trails in wheat. So, you know, this is talking about back in the 90s when I'm in 3rd, 4th grade when we started planting. So let's actually talk about what I said about that's Buckmasters. I'm still going to stand by what I said. It's cheaper to go buy a bag of wheat from co-op than just to buy that Buckmasters. But wheat used to be the only thing we planted, and it did really well. What we would do with wheat is we would plant spots that were like this, fairly heavy like I just did, but then we would plant every single trail with wheat, the whole trail. And the deer would just run these trails through this place when we first bought it. And this place is incredibly thick, in case you can't see behind me. I mean, see how thick that is back there? That's how this entire property is. So we came through with tractor and made some trails, you know, where you could get between trees with the brush hog. There's a few little spots that were open, brush hogged them down, planted them, and started hunting. A few years later, we bought the other place and started planting it. As far as planting anything other than wheat, we've just been doing that for maybe 10 years now, but it's been working really well, trying different things. My favorite to plant's been turnips. The deer seem to really love those. They just chew the tops off of them. And I plant so much. The reason I plant like 10 pounds of turnips every year is because I like to eat the turnip tops myself. I like to go out and pick some turnips too. So, you know, it's not against me to go out and pick some turnip tops and bring them home and cook them up and eat them. But yeah, so it looks like this mix is mostly wheat. Actually, let's go read this. It says there's clover, wheat, oats, rye, and rape in this. I'm still going with what I said. It's at least 95% wheat, if not more. There's hardly any other seeds in this mix. But I planted this very, very heavily. So it should be a nice, green, lush spot. My brother hunts this one mostly. I don't hunt down here very often. I do every now and then, but not that often. He does most of the hunting here. So maybe it'll make him a good spot to get a good buck this year. I don't know. We'll find out. I'm going to go up here and plant this other little spot with the rest of the bag I've got. And then next time you guys see me, I'll be at the house and have planted the spot back there. Okay, so just finished the last food plot. Show you it real quick. Here's the last food plot. Planted it with that wheat mixture, and then some that winter mix, and then some turnips. Oh, we'll see. And just for reference, where this is at, here's the start of my dove field. So here's the sorghum. See, it's all heading out now. And look at all the seed we've got from that brown top millet. I mean, it's just unreal. And it's starting to turn brown. I'm going to give it another couple of weeks, then I'll brush hog it. And then we've got the sunflower seed, or the sunflower part of the field. And just look at that. I mean, see all those birds flying around out there. Hopefully you can see them at least. So what I'm going to do here in a little bit is I'm going to get the tractor out. I'm going to brush hog a strip, and we'll put some cracked corn down to make sure the dove are coming in, because we've got a couple weeks for dove season. So all right. And I've been seeing deer come out to the sunflowers and millet and everything, so the dove food plot being right there by where I'm wanted to hunt for deer behind the house here is helping. Then I'll have that deer food plot there as well. So between here and over at the property, hopefully we can get a buck this year, and hopefully I get a chance to hunt. I didn't really get to hunt much last year, but hopefully I can do some hunting this year. We are having the baby here in like 10 days, so she should be to a point where mom lets me go hunting. So we'll see. No, it's starting to get hot and muggy. I'm going to go inside and get something to drink and cool off a little bit. So I'll get this all edited together and get it posted for you guys. Hope you enjoyed.